Good morning from Kleinshire, everybody. Today's a big day. We are scheduled to make our first delivery of kale. The turkey poults are supposed to arrive at the feed mill in Cashton. It is just a busy, busy day, and I wanted to take you along. You're not the only one I'm taking along. These boys are eager to go pick kale too, right? Mm-hmm. All right, let's see what we can do. We've actually been busy at kale harvest beginning yesterday evening when we picked the lacinato kale. I already have them here, all covered up with the tarp. Let me show you. There are 5 boxes of kale under the tarp. There's supposed to be 10, but unfortunately, we have some problems with quality in the lacinato, which the bugs really like, and Rosemary and I were out there picking, and we were discarding more leaves than we ended up keeping simply because of quality control issues. The way it works is we get a purchase order that looks something like this after letting Organic Valley know that we have the kale. This is a purchase order, and we told them that we would have 10 cases each of lacinato and green kale, and you can see that there's the 10 cases of lacinato. We only have 5, so we won't make quite as much money as we wanted. I emailed the office to let them know that we wouldn't have what they wanted. That communication is important because the way it works is we issue a projection. We say we'll have so many cases, and all the other farms in the cooperative do that too. They're issuing communication sheets, and then Organic Valley lets the wholesale market know that we have so many cases available, and then customers place orders, and they call that in by issuing this purchase order. So unfortunately, someone isn't going to get their kale, but I did email Organic Valley this morning to let them know, because there's a chance then that they can let another farmer who has more lacinato know, hey, you could provide more lacinato kale and fill this short and make sure that our customer gets what they wanted. Usually I leave this on the email, I don't print it out, but I wanted to show you. There's not only the purchase order, there's also communication, and you can see that our 10 cases of lacinato and 10 cases of green are part of something bigger. There is right here, lacinato, 115 cases are scheduled to be delivered today, and hopefully someone has a little bit more. Green kale, 345 cases are supposed to be accepted today. Hopefully someone can fill our short. We grew lacinato kale last year, so it's not new to us, and we experienced the bug pressure. We're aware of it. It's something that not as many farmers grow simply because of the difficulty of getting it bug-free. Basically what happened is I sprayed the pyganic, which is from the chrysanthemum flower and takes care of flea beetles on it, just a little bit too late, and there were too many holes to be acceptable. We're new to green kale this year. This will be something that we're turning in for the first time today, and therefore I'm reviewing the quality specs and the harvest instructions before I go out. Organic Valley provides us with this really cool book. It has advice about disease, planting, care, troubleshooting, but on this page we have the quality specs. And you can see that we're going to be bunching them in 24 and binding them with a twist tie. And here we have green and red kale. So we're looking for leaves that are 8 inches long, not including the stem. There's some leeway there, but not much. And 8 to 10 leaves per bunch. You see, lacinato is different because the leaf goes all the way down the stem, so they want it about 1 foot long. Some of ours were a little shorter, but again, there's some wiggle room, and more bunches because the leaves are a little more delicate. Well, this is what it's supposed to look like, right up here. Hopefully mine look like that. He doesn't want to ride after all. All right, well, somebody's coming out at least. It's a sunny one. All right, minions, twist ties. Well, here we go. You can see all the leaves we left on the ground of the lacinato. See the problem there? It's like it's shot through with BBs. That's flea beetle damage. But here is a partial row of green kale. Looks a little bit better. Those leaves look beautiful. This one on the end is shot through. So those ones are just going to be on the ground. Well, I'm a little bit nervous about having minions harvest my kale. This will be a first. But what I want you guys to do, Chrysogonus, you're going through, you're finding the biggest, best leaves, and you're going to put them loose in here, okay? So that's what you're going to do. And I'm going to make these bunches. I'll be doing that. Okay, show me how you do it. Make sure you pick right from the stem. There you go. You can get a whole handful. You know, one leaf at a time isn't going to get you very far. Get a nice handful. Only the biggest, best leaves I can go through and find others. What's that?
Would this one be fine?
Let's see. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes. The rules say 3 holes, but there's some wiggle room. So yeah, you can put that in. If I think there are too many, I'll take it out later. Well, the boys are picking the kale and Clement's come out. I think I can make him the buncher. Do you think you're up to it, Clement?
Well, I would have first to see how it works.
So eager. These leaves are a little bit smaller than they're supposed to be. So we're going with 12 in each. Tag, see that? Just like that, okay. Here. Leaves, okay, 1, 2. I need the whole stem. I can't use it without the whole stem. Do you understand? I can't tie it, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, too small. 12. Okay. You take the tie, just like that. You have to hold it tight. Okay. Little squeeze, but you don't want to break the stems. And you twist. And you have a bunch of kale. Okay? All right. Getting it down?
Let's get in.
Show me your handiwork.
Tight.
Yeah, that's plenty of twisting. Beautiful kale. Look at that. Nearly got a box here. All right, so each box needs 24 bunches. So let's see how close we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Oh, these are so fluffy. I don't know how we fit them all, but we need 3 more. All right, first full box of kale. 10% done, 24 bunches. And because the leaves are a little bit on the small side, 12 leaves per bunch. we're still working. I need to get this in the shade. Clement, the way it works is look at the top of the plant. Do you see the tender little leaves there? So the kale will grow back. It grows right out the top. It's called the crown. And you actually need to be careful not to damage the crown. And don't pick the leaves toward the top that are greener because those leaves are still growing, okay?
Alright. Yeah, I found a perfect leaf.
What makes it perfect?
There's no holes in it.
Not a one. Look at that. Now that is beautiful. Wow. So, look at that. Perfect kale. This is just beautiful, beautiful first harvest. We have, what, 2 going on 3 boxes. We're getting a little silly in the heat here, but we're more than oh my goodness, more than 20% done. 80% to go. Can we make it? Can we make it?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep working. Yay, turkeys!
What do you want me to pick up besides the turkeys?
Pine shavings.
How many bags? 5?
We'll need them eventually. Yeah.
And then how many bags of the starter?
Maybe 6 to start.
6? Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
Right now?
That should do it.
Okay, all right.
All right. Have fun. Love you. Well, we have 5 boxes down and 5 to go. We're back in because the turkeys are on the way. Obviously, Rosemary's going to pick them up, and I need to look at their setup. They need a light, they need their water dish and food. We need to get them settled in as quickly as possible. I had hoped that we could just have one trip to Cashton today, and I could pick up the turkey poults on the way home. But obviously that did not work out. The poults, they're delicate, and when they come into the feed store, you have to get them right away to give them the best chance. So 2 trips to Cashton, despite the price of fuel. I'm not ready for you yet.
I just asked where you were. Want to peek at them?
Cuties. There are 2 things that I'm going to add to the water. The first is an electrolyte. This is just a supplement. They've been traveling from another part of the state, and it's just a tiny little pinch. So it doesn't take much at all. It's amazing how little it takes. The other thing, and this is just to give their system a little perk and to prevent coccidiosis, this is our own apple cider vinegar. So this one's designated now for animal use.
Shake it up.
It's got the mother there. Oh, shake it up,
Yeah,
you're saying?
shake up
Okay.
the sediment and
All right.
get the mother.
And the mother will move. It's a nice plug. This is beautiful, beautiful apple cider vinegar.
No, it's not Evan Williams.
It's not Evan Williams. And that's probably enough. Just a splash. A pinch of the electrolytes and a splash of the apple cider vinegar. I'm just gonna dip. You're gonna count. Hi, buddies. Look at you, cutie. Everybody needs a little drink. You like that? There you go. 1. Okay, you're counting.
4, 24, 25.
Exactly 40. No extras.
It's eating. It just ate the pine shavings. Oh my gosh, you're crazy. Did you see that?
Huh, look at he wants the camera. You want the camera? So what do you think, Rose?
They're not very smart. They're eating the pine shavings.
Yeah. Turkey poults are pretty dumb.
You have to watch them.
Yeah, look how little the space is in the water. Nonetheless, we've had turkeys sit in it. We've had, we used to provide 2 lights. I only put up 1 because every single year they all choose one of the lights, even if they're close together, and pile it under that 1 light. So we're only raising 40, and they kind of fit under 1 light, and it's warm anyway. So we'll only do 1 light. This is something we do on the side. It's just one of many ventures. 40 turkeys we sell direct to consumer. Under the poultry exemption rule, we can process ourselves. So it brings in a little money, and it's just one component of the farm. Well, hopefully these guys are healthy and they adjust well, I guess. Oh, now you can go.
So I'm trying to show them the food. They're not very smart at the beginning. They're eating pine shavings, which they shouldn't be eating. So I'm trying to, they're very curious. So I see if I sprinkle it, they're like, ooh, what's that?
They have time.
But getting a few of them to start eating
But
the
the
actual
sooner they
food.
do it, the less stressed they are, the healthier. Lunch is eaten. The turkeys are doing well. Everything is sanitized. My hands are washed. Believe me, food safety is a big deal when you're selling for the grocery stores. They require food safety certification, and there are a lot of rules to follow. I'd wash my hands anyway.
I'll tilt it on my side.
What are you guys excited about?
That we're finished.
Uh-huh.
I'm not excited that we're gonna have to do this soon again. We're gonna have to do it next week.
Well, only until there's a couple hard freezes. Right? Then you can relax all winter.
It can take. No, we can't. We have school.
Oh, life is tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
One more. All right. Now we just have to wash them. Nice load of kale. Do you know where they find babies? Under kale leaves. Be careful. You filling up?
Yeah.
Good. Well, I have to work with the shade that I have, so here we are under the eaves of the house. I have a little helper filling the water for me. I'm actually going to be adding a splash of peracetic acid to the water. And that may surprise people, but in fact, it's a requirement for food safety for vegetables that are sold in the grocery store that you do not wash them just in water. I guess the reason for that is because if there's anything on any one bunch of the kale and I were to dunk another bunch in, all of a sudden I would have contaminated all the kale that ended up in that contaminated water. No, a little fuller, a little fuller. But with the acid in there, just enough to kill various bacteria that we're on the lookout for, and not just E. coli, there are others as well. The water doesn't contaminate from one bunch of kale to another. Yes. Can you fill the other one? Switch it to that one. Go, quick, quick, quick. Don't get the house. Ah. Good job. The other thing is, I'm not so much washing the kale, although I suppose it does do that. But the biggest thing I'm doing here is called hydro-cooling, basically cooling with cold well water. And this really is the first step in keeping the kale from being a wilty mess. Because when it's in that water, it sucks some of it up, the leaves hit that coolness, they get crispy. They get nice and crispy. And then when I take them to Organic Valley, they're going to put ice on top of the kale as well and keep the kale at 34 degrees. So it actually ends up in the grocery store with this first step of hydro-cooling crispy, if you can believe it, even on a hot day in the 80s like today. This isn't an exact science, but they do give us test strips. I think it's about 1.5 ounces for 25 gallons is supposed to give you 88 parts per million peracetic acid. But basically what I'm doing when I put this in is I'm looking at that gray color there and I'm matching it up, and they have one for 85 and one for 160, and it's on the dark end. So as far as I know, that's good enough to count for 88 parts per million. It certainly has the peracetic acid in it, and it's also definitely not overdone on that tank, because obviously, although a little bit is fine on your produce, you wouldn't want to dip it in pure peracetic acid. Now it's a matter of just getting it all immersed. Little different from the lacinato kale because it's so fluffy. I don't want to break things, but I do want to get it all under. Hold various parts of it under. That water's cold. Love well water. Up here on the ridge, our wells are many hundreds of feet deep. It's an amazing feat of engineering to drill wells like that, I think. But this water is ice cold. In case you're getting the romantic notion that this is how most of the kale that you buy in the grocery store is grown, I have a feeling that it's not. I have a feeling that most of it is grown in giant fields in California, and migrant workers are used without necessarily careful check of immigration status, and they're probably taken advantage of in terms of wages and all of that. I think that agriculture, and particularly food for human consumption, is something of a mess right now. But I really like that with Organic Valley we have this cooperative of small farms that all put together are the size of maybe one of those California mega farms. And we can compete, negotiate prices, pull produce from one farm or another depending how well it grew in a particular place, and ship it out. With Organic Valley having access to its milk trucks, we can service a national market, all with little farms like mine. Hey, don't hold them like that, be nice. So a family like ours can make a living. You know, some of the farms, a lot of the farms are Amish. That their way of life fits this well. I'm not trying to be Amish, but I certainly like being able to work my own land and make a living. Loose kale there. Not all the farms are tiny though. We have one farm that's growing 40 acres of Brussels sprouts. But it's still a family. It's a dairy family that wanted to expand beyond dairy and invested in the machinery and built the facility to process the Brussels in that volume, and they get marketed through Organic Valley. But it's a good cooperative to be part of, and I can be idealistic and think that it's sort of neat that this kale from my field is going to a grocery store in a big city where somebody is going to enjoy it. I love that. We get stickers for most of the stuff that we have to put in the box. See, Organic Valley sticker, grower sticker, but we do need to mark that it's 24 counts. We need to mark what it is, green kale in this case. And then the thing that I have to look up is the date, because although it's July 12th, what we put in produce is the Julian date. So I need to look at this chart here, and I look at the month, and basically just counts up the days of the year. So July down to 12. So today is 193, Julian date 193. I need to mark that on there as well. Might need a new marker. And this is lacinato on the bottom. Last but not least, I'm working on the paperwork. This is my communication sheet, and it's particularly important because this is my first delivery of any kind of the season. So I have my green kale and my lacinato kale from today, already harvested, and the number of cases on the load. But I've also projected for deliveries, and these are just estimates. I can revise them every time I go in, but I'm thinking next Tuesday, there's a lot of green kale out there. I'll be ready to harvest another 10. And then with lack of rain, maybe I'll wait another week and there'll be 10, and the lacinato should catch up a little bit by then, 8. And finally, I'm looking, oh, this should be, well, I should put this the Tuesday after. I'll have to adjust that, but we're going to come on board. I'm thinking 20 the week after that of green, and maybe up to 12 on the lacinato. Cyprian will be excited. He's growing this yellow straight neck summer squash. I'm almost ready to project those. Just a few boxes. They're slow, but I like when I can couple them, obviously, with other deliveries because the fuel is really expensive. So you may be wondering why this isn't all online, but again, a lot of the growers are Amish, so those purchase orders get hand delivered. The farms are really in clusters, so it's not as big a deal as you might think. And then these communication sheets come in on the delivery trucks from the various farmers, and there's a place in there where you can communicate messages, needs, things that you need, boxes, labels, and things like that. And these things get shuttled back and forth. Obviously, I save some money. Well, with the price of fuel, maybe not. But I deliver myself, and I'll bring in this paper communication sheet, just like my Amish fellow farmers. All right, I've got it tarped up. I'm ready to go. So that is the video for today. I hope that you enjoyed this little picture into the beginning of our produce delivery season. We will be doing this a lot, and we're a hobby farm. We grow a lot of our own stuff. We live off the land, but we have financial needs too, and we're trying to meet those off of the land as well. So we love the opportunity to deliver produce and share some of the fruits of our land. I hope you enjoyed viewing just a little taste of it. A taste of it. That's funny. All right, I'm tired. I'm hot. I got to get this delivered. It's in the sun. God bless. Subscribe. Follow along.